The migration module was designed to alleviate the stress and pain of moving configurations and customizations from one environment to another. Currently, there are several ways to do this throughout the Portal connector, including using Sitefinity SiteSync functionality, or even using the Accelerator import-export utilities. The challenge with the Sitefinity SiteSync module is in its complexity, as well as licensing. To use SiteSync, you would require a Sitefinity Professional license, as well as the SiteSync add-on, which could add additional cost to your overall solution. The challenge with the Portal Connector Accelerator Builder is that it wasn't intended for a migration use. It was more intended for creating one-off solutions that can be imported into multiple environments. But the migration module was designed to move these customizations and configurations in an easy-to-use and intuitive interface. Let's take a look and see how the migration module works. Here we have a typical customer self-service portal. This is usually the demo site that the Portal Connector provides to its customers. You can see that we have knowledge base articles. Those articles could also be sorted by the most popular, most recent, top rated. Clicking into it, you will see the details of that article. As the user that's logged in right now, Jen, she could also go in and see her support dashboard. Maybe Jen wants to modify her personal profile or access the forums. You can see that there's quite a few customizations to this site. What we plan to do is take all of this customization, including the template, and migrate it to a brand new site. For that purpose, we've created an empty site called TPC Migrate. This would be the site that will take those configurations. So let's get started. Logging into the administrative area for the TPC5 site, what we want to do is set up a connection to the Migrate site. The first thing we have to do is create a user to use on the Migrate site. This user would be the user that we use as a service account to migrate the changes to this environment. So let's create that user. So username, we'll go with sync user. Give it an email address. And then a secure password. Now, because this user is actually going to be used to create content, we want to make sure that it has sufficient rights to access that content. Create this user. And now we have that user created, and we can configure our migration site. So to access migrations, it is under the administration menu. Under migrations, the first step is to create a connection. So clicking on connections, add. This is really where we define where we want to push that content to. So we'll give it a target name, and we'll call this production, possibly. The URL, and we're calling this TPC migrate.crm portal connector.com. Now the target site key, that's a unique key that prevents other sites from migrating content to a site unless they actually have that key. To get that key, you have to go into the migration module of the destination site. and it's easy to find. It's under connections, and there it is there, current site key. Again, this prevents other sites from migrating content to a site that doesn't have permission. Flipping back to our source site, we'll just paste that migration key right in there. Enter in our username, sync user at crmportalconnector.com, our secure password. And then if you're using an older version, you may have a different user provider. So if you do, you can actually enter in the user provider here as well. So we're going to add the new connection. There we go, production. And we can add as many of these as we like. It's only a one-time type situation, so you don't always have to go off and get that site key. Once you have it configured once, you can migrate to that environment multiple times. So now that we have that configured, the next step is actually specify what you want to migrate. And you can see here when we're going to migrate, it's already selected our only connection that we have. We can click on test. We're good, so it's connected. And then what we can do is we can just specify what content we want to migrate over. As I said, we want to make this intuitive. You know, other migration type utilities, you have to select specific content. So you have to go through and you select each page, select each form that you want to migrate over, maybe individual pieces of content, and things get missed, things get lost. With the migration module, essentially what it does is that when you select a page, it's going to go out to the whole site, grab all the content that's related to that page or that page actually depends on, whether that's forms or images or templates. And then what it's going to do, it's just going to grab all of that, package all up in one nice neat bundle, and then export it over to that new environment. So what's great about this is that if you're working on a specific set of functionality, say for instance maybe a whole profile management type section, and you have other developers working on the support section. Once that profile section is done, you can just select that profile section and migrate that over to your production environment, and you don't have to worry about any of that support functionality that's in development still being migrated over. So I'm going to take the whole site. So there we are there. Scroll down here. I'm going to give this a name. And you don't have to, but it's always good to understand what you're moving over there. Oh. A couple extra letters there. Now, again, it's going to take all those widget templates, the site templates, the resource packaging. So if you're using any type of MVC template, it'll take all of that. But you can also export the permissions. So if you set specific permissions on these pages, or if a specific user has permissions to these pages and you create additional roles, you can export those as well. So I'm going to take all of that, and then simply when I click on this button and confirm it, it's going to begin that export. Okay, before I click this button, I think it's important to point out that I'm importing into a completely blank environment. So if I take a look at that destination TPC migrate and I go into my pages, you'll see there's no pages. If I go into the content under forms, there's no templates. So it's a completely fresh environment. And when we import, it's going to take that whole portal back over to that environment. So let's just click on that again. There we go. So the job is going to start up. So another important thing to mention is, as this is exporting and importing, when I go back to that migrate, and we look at all of this, all this content that we're migrating, if I only migrated, say for instance, this profile page, so if I take that profile page, if it had any dependencies on other pages, so say for instance it had a template that actually had a login widget on it that pointed to a login a login landing page, it's actually going to take that page as well. So it doesn't just fork out to content. It's going to take absolutely everything that this particular page requires, whether it's through its template, through a page it's linked to. So if this page is linked to this page and then this page is linked to this page, it's going to start grabbing all of that content. So if you only select one page to migrate, you might notice that it's actually taken 5 pages. So back to our jobs here. See how that's coming along. Oh, is it done? Oh, there it goes. It's complete. So let's jump over to our environment here. Open up our pages. So there's all of our new pages. We have all of our forums, all of our templates. So there they are there. If I hop into this front end here, just takes a second to spin up all of that. There we go. So now we have the exact same portal that we had originally, and we just migrated all of that content over. So what's more important is that now that we have that first migration over to that portal, now if we actually changed individual pages, so if I go over here and I say, for instance, I change that home page, and maybe we add a form to that home page. So if I open up that home page, and if we, like I said, add a form to it, so scroll down, take this form manager, and of course I'm just going to drop it in anywhere. I'm not going to make it look all nice and pretty. So I'm going to select a form, maybe a contact us form. I think we might have one in here somewhere. Yeah, there it is right at the top. So there it is there. Well, that's actually a contact. That's not contact us, but that's that'll work just as well. So click on save. All right, publish this. Now heading back to my migrations. And let's just configure another one here. So I'm going to take that home page this time. Home page, and then just again, just click on that migrate to production. This shouldn't take too long, so it's just the home page. So we do have some filters here. You'll notice here that doesn't actually show the completed jobs. We're gonna actually change that so it does display the completed jobs by default. Give this a couple more seconds. There we go. Scheduling the import. And it's done. So now if I come back over to my site and I refresh this, we'll have that updated home page with that new form on it. So now of course you can take those individual pages over as well. There you go. There it is. So it's pretty seamless. It's a great addition. One of the main principles that we have here is to keep things simple. And what we want to do is we really strongly believe that migrating from any environment to another environment should be pretty much out of the box functionality for any type of portal solution or any type of website solution. So in saying that, there's no additional licensing fees for the migration module. It comes out of the box with the portal connector.